In the Warhammer 40K universe, dogma is absolute, and hatred is considered a moral virtue. To the Imperium of man, survival depends on extreme xenophobia, and fraternizing with an alien species is an act of high treason. But even the most rigid ideologies have a breaking point. When an immovable hatred meets an unstoppable, apocalyptic threat, the rules of engagement take a sudden pragmatic turn. Take the conflict on the planet Melgrib. An ultramarine strike force and a Tau deployment were locked in a firefight that grew so intense their heavy weapons shattered the ground, accidentally waking a dormant Necron tomb buried beneath them. As ancient death machines poured out of the crater, the ultramarine and Tau commanders made an instantaneous, unspoken decision. They pivoted their guns away from each other and combined their fire to crush the mechanical nightmare. The second the tomb was shut down, the ultramarines and Tau went right back to killing each other, picking up the battle exactly where they had stopped. No official records were kept, and neither side admitted the cooperation ever happened. This sets the baseline for the entire galaxy. Raw survival can temporarily override religious programming, proving that even the most fanatical enemies will cooperate if it means living long enough to kill each other tomorrow. As the scale moves from a single battlefield to an entire world, the price of these alliances becomes a political liability. On the planet Gehenna, Commander Dante of the Blood Angels spent 3 weeks in a deadlock against Necron legions led by the Silent King. That stalemate was broken by the arrival of a Tyranid splinter fleet in orbit, a biological swarm capable of consuming every living cell and every machine on the surface. Facing extinction, Dante forged a formal battlefield alliance with the Necrons. Together, the Blood Angels and the Metal Legions repelled the swarm, securing a victory that would have seen Dante executed for heresy by the Inquisition. To protect his chapter from the fallout, Dante had his staff wipe the Necrons' involvement from the official history books. He chose to lie to the Imperium, rather than explain why he stood shoulder to shoulder with the alien. At the planetary scale, temporary truces are a military necessity, but they are so politically toxic that they require total historical erasure to survive the aftermath. Sometimes the alliance isn't a desperate reflex, but a calculated transaction. The Imperial Guard often utilizes Orc blood axes as mercenaries, trading resources for the Orcs' willingness to fight battles humans cannot win. On Montar 7, the Imperium traded a mountain of Orc teeth and salvaged weapons to have the Greenskins clear out a subterranean gene-stealer cult. It was a simple exchange. The aliens did the dirty work, while the human soldiers watched from a safe distance. This chart shows the Golden Throne's 10,000-year decay, destined to fail within 2 centuries. Lacking the knowledge to fix it, Imperial leaders struck a profane deal, allowing Drukhari scientists to kidnap human citizens in exchange for repairing the failing components. The alliance collapsed when a custodian guard caught the Drukhari attempting to steal the Emperor's genetic material. The deal ended instantly with the beheading of every alien expert on the site. Systemic desperation forces the Imperium into calculated hypocrisy. They are willing to trade the lives of their own citizens to alien torturers as long as it buys the Empire a few more years of survival. At the highest level, alliances aren't about single worlds or machines. They are about the survival of the galaxy itself. The encroaching forces of chaos threaten to unravel the fabric of reality, forcing ancient enemies into massive cross-species gambits. Trazyn the Infinite, an immortal Necron, sees the galaxy as his personal museum. He realized that if chaos consumed everything, there would be nothing left for him to collect. During the fall of Cadia, Trazyn released his collection of ancient, frozen human warriors onto the battlefield. Soldiers from forgotten eras materialized instantly to fight alongside the modern Imperium, buying the survivors a few desperate minutes to escape the planet's destruction. While Trazyn uses brute force, the Harlequins use manipulation. This secretive Eldari faction has one goal: the total defeat of the Chaos God Slaanesh. The Harlequins spent decades quietly nudging a human scientist and Eldari leaders into position. They weren't looking for a brief truce. They were setting the stage for a change in the galactic order. This shadow campaign led directly to the resurrection of the fallen Primarch Rabute Guilliman. By orchestrating his return, the Harlequins placed a legendary human leader back on the board to serve as their primary weapon against the gods of chaos. On this scale, ancient enemies will actively collaborate to revive rival leaders. They recognize that a galaxy ruled by a rival is still better than a galaxy that no longer exists. Officially, the 41st millennium is a place of unyielding borders and absolute xenophobia. The official doctrine remains the same. There is only war. Yet, the history of the Tau and the Kroot proves that mutual respect is possible. Their 10-year struggle against the Orcs forged a bond of loyalty that has never been broken, proving that cooperation can be a permanent state rather than a temporary fix. Even the most violent factions can find common ground. On the world of Gladius, Drukhari arena fighters and the blood-crazed World Eaters discovered a shared obsession with gladiatorial combat. They fought with such skill that the god Khorne himself resurrected the dead to let the battle continue. These moments show that the various races of the galaxy are entirely capable of coexistence. They possess the means to communicate, the logic to negotiate, and the capacity for mutual respect. The tragedy of the 41st millennium is that perpetual war is an active choice. These factions maintain their hatred by design, only tolerating peace when the alternative is absolute extinction.